Speaking of classics, Hoop Stream's back at it, coming to you live on Twitter. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth in New York City, got Amin in Arizona, Perk in Houston, and we have a very special guest joining us today, David Fizdale, Coach Fizz.
Thanks for having me, guys. Giving me something to do.
Sir.
We're so happy to have you. But we want to know, how you doing? How have you been spending your quarantine time?
It's been good for me because me and my wife are besties. So we've been hanging out, walking dogs, hanging out in the yard, drinking a lot of wine, binge watching the hell out of shows.
Shout out to Tosh and your 5 dogs. Wait, what's the number one show you've been binge watching right now?
Well, we're on this new show on Amazon called Tales from the Loop. Check it out. It's pretty good.
What else do we got to do? So I'll put that on the list for sure. Look, I'm going to start this show off by doing a segment we like to call Quarantimes, and that's checking in around the league and each other about what's happening during these times. And Amin, I want to start with you as we get into these Quarantimes. We saw some pics from this Zoom call you had last night that you posted on your Instagram. What is this, and who are you?
I'm nobody. I'm just somebody who got called into this by mistake. Katie Nolan hit me up and said, "Hey, can you hop on this Zoom call?" And once I got in there, madness ensued. That's just like a small percentage of the very, very, very famous people win on this call. I don't want to give away too much because it's going to be on Katie Nolan's show, Always Late, I believe this week. So check it out on ESPN Plus. And on YouTube and wherever else you watch Always Late with Katie Nolan. So I'm doing promos for her show. I get no quid pro quo though.
Right. No, but as you posted and some other people posted, you found yourself in a chat with Lin-Manuel Miranda, James Corbin, Dewayne Wade. So another plug for her is that it's a conversation worth checking out. Something else that is worth checking out is maybe Ray Allen's Instagram. Did you see this? He posted his hair pic yesterday. And as we are all going through this, the hair struggles are
my
real.
edge is back. My edge,
Right.
We called this Rasheed Wallace. What I got.
Look though, he basically compared himself to George Jefferson side by side, and he challenged his bald French to grow it out. Fizz, you are growing it out.
I'm growing it out. I'm telling you, this was worse. But if I just kind of trimmed it up because I was coming on here and I knew Perk was gonna be all lined up, so I didn't want to be, looking all rough. But I said, hey, forget it. I'm not saying. I'm not like that.
No, you guys see, you have a nice hairline. You shouldn't even be bald.
It's just what it is what you realize because I always shave it, is what I realize now is it's really getting gray. When it starts to grow back, I'm like, man, let me shave this stuff because I'm not dyeing my hair. I'm not doing that. I'm going
Fizz, I would give up the sun, the moon, and the stars just to get my hairline back and let it be all gray or white, whatever color you want it to be. I just want my hairline back.
Gray is nothing but wisdom, though.
Right.
That's right, Perk.
I don't know about you guys, but I know my grays are coming in. That's just I can't wait to get to my hair.
That little 1-year-old you got over there.
I know that's what it is. That's what it is. And hey, I should be having my afternoon wine as well. It is 4 o'clock. That's what I'm saying. That's really quarantine. Wait, what are you showing us, Amin?
This is Jason Richardson growing his hair out. And I was just like, and he always had a strong hairline. I was like, what you talking about? And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, there's like a big hole right in the middle. I didn't even know you could do that.
Middle. Man.
We are discovering a lot about ourselves, that's for sure, during these quarantine times. Look, though, it is no coincidence that we're talking Ray Allen and we have Coach Fizz on here today because it's Wednesday, and Wednesdays this month, ESPN is featuring iconic games and legendary performances, and we're leading you into a double header tonight on ESPN, which, Coach Fizz, you got a front row seat to. It's starting at 7 Eastern. You can catch Game 6 and 7 of the 2013 NBA Finals between the Spurs and Miami Heat. That is definitely worth a revisit and sitting and watching that with however many glasses of wine. We don't judge, especially during this time.
No way.
But before we break down those two games, Perk, I want to talk to you about something specifically in the 2013 season. You were playing for the Thunder. And in 2013, you lost to this team twice, once on Christmas Day, another time in the midst of their 27-game win streak. They were the reigning champs as well after beating the Thunder in the finals the previous year. What did you think of this Heat team, and what specifically comes to mind when you think of 2013?
Well, I mean, when I look at that 2013 Heat team, you could tell, like, with the basketball eye, you could tell that the camaraderie was there. It was a family. Like, you could tell that those guys enjoyed each other on and off the court. And when you have a team that's that talented, first of all, when you win a title and then you come back the next season, it's almost like each guy on there was battle tested. Every guy knew their role. Guys were stars in their role. Like, you take guys like Mario Chalmers and Norris Cole, those guys were comfortable with who they are. So I'm pretty sure Coach Fizz and Spoke could contest to this, but y'all didn't have to preach roles no more. Guys knew what their job was, and you just seen it. Like, they were having fun on and off the court, videotaping Braun doing a slam dunk contest in Phoenix. Like, you just felt on the outside looking in, you wanted to be a part of that. Like, you could just feel the great energy. The ball was moving. They were passing up good shots to get great shots. They were deep. I'm talking about Mike Miller, Shane Battier, all these guys. It was like the whole roster was full of vets that could still hoop, and everybody knew their roles.
Yeah.
Well, look.
Yeah.
You said it best, Perk. You're exactly right. And it was that the one thing that I really think that you hit the nail on the head on is we had fun, man. Like, that team really liked being around each other. That year we injected Ray Allen into the team, which was an incredible boost. You think about it, you adding Ray Allen to that group that's already won a title.
Jesus Shuttlesworth,
man. And he just added a whole nother element of fun to the group.
And we'll talk a little bit more about, such a big part of his legacy, which happened with that team. But on the other side of things, I mean, he had the Spurs, and they still had their core intact of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, but also had a young Kawhi Leonard with role players like Boris Diaw and Danny Green. Like, what stood out to you about that Spurs team in particular?
Yeah, it's funny, Cassidy, because a couple of years earlier, last time I worked for a team that went to the playoffs was in 2010 with the Suns, and we played the Spurs in the first round, and they were still very much an inside-out team. Give it a Tim, slow it down, everything, and we swept them. And the joke we used to have is that we beat them so bad we made them change the way they played, because after that, it went away from Tim and it became a pick-and-roll team with the ball in either Tony's hands or Manu's hands. And obviously they became very successful at it. Kawhi Leonard was still kind of just a role player for them, a 3-and-D kind of guy. But when they got to those finals, I mean, I think we all thought, to be honest with you, Coach, we all thought San Antonio was going to win just because, they were flexible in terms of their lineups. And then you guys really didn't have answers for the shooting. And LeBron was still kind of, at this point, not as confident in his jump shot as he is now. So that whole backing up off him and giving him space, he seemed unsure of himself in those times. And, it's funny where, I'm sure we're going to talk about it in a second, but how things can change just like that. And that's the nature of the playoffs.
Yeah.
You might have everything, your momentum going your way, and then something massive happens. And all of a sudden, it's hard to recapture that momentum. And that's what I remember the most at that finals was those middle games in San Antonio where Danny Green and what's my man from Towson, the shooter. Oh, man, why am I drawing a blank right now? Little guy, shooter from Towson. Gary Neal.
Gary Neal.
Thanks.
I'm like, Towson.
Them boys,
yeah, Gary Neal, yeah. Yeah, Danny Green lost his mind, yeah.
Danny Green broke the record. He was breaking records in that finals. We had no answer to, like, even when we were contesting them to a point where, and that was before they made the rule where you can go under guys. We were getting underneath him trying to contest his shots, and he was locked in. And you're right about the fact that, you know, LeBron and Dewayne, they were going under every pick and roll against us, really forcing them to shoot that jump shot. And I'll never forget, we had a shoot around the game we won in San Antonio. LeBron and D stayed in there for about an hour just shooting pull-up jump shot after pull-up jump shot. And it always goes back to, you know, I know these teams are all about threes and layups, but you have to be able to make those tough twos, especially your best player, to give yourself a chance to win big. And those guys, they caught fire later on in the series from that range.
Yeah,
Coach,
go ahead, Perk.
No, I was saying, Coach, there's only one team that's living by those that threes and layups. And you know, it's crazy to me is because everybody everybody want to go to this analytics talking about threes and layups, but nobody ever won the championship doing this. Like nobody ever banner who.
The one thing I would say, Perk, is when I hear threes and layups, I'm not thinking about star players. I think what Coach said is right. My star has to be able to make all types of shots. My Dwayne Wade's, my LeBron James's. But I don't want, personally, for instance, for you guys, Coach, I wouldn't want Shane Battier taking pull-up twos.
Right.
That's not his strength. Two, when you operate in those areas as a role player, what you're doing is you're shrinking the court. You're making it easier for me as a defender to guard you and also help on other things, or not guard you really and help on LeBron and Dwayne Wade, and then be able to recover back because you're not spacing out far enough. Yeah. And so I think when people say threes and layups, I think to me that means more about the role players than it does just star players.
Yeah. And our guys, they understood it. Other guys understood that, you know, what shots they should be taking and what shots they shouldn't be taking.
I don't know, because if you was watching the show yesterday, the 2005 Eastern Conference Finals, your boy Perk was hitting turnarounds and all type of things.
What did you say? What'd you say before the knee problem? Young Perk was a problem.
Before the ACL, I was a problem.
You always before the ACL and Doc making you a role player. That's what it is. But I was gonna say, you know, there was campaigns for Danny Green to win Finals MVP, you know, after Game 5, if the Spurs were able to close it out in Game 6, but as we know, they didn't. So let's get to it. Let's get to the main attraction, which is really Game 6 and 7. The Spurs were up 3-2 in the series. They held a 93-89 point lead with 28 seconds left in Game 6. Manu goes to the line, misses one, and then makes the next. Coach, down 5. What are you saying to the team? What's Spoelstra saying?
What could be a huge free throw. There's still,
other than that Ray Allen whole thing that we're about to watch, Spo right there in that moment was unbelievable. I watched him become a Hall of Fame coach in that huddle. First off, look at him. He's not panicked. He's not worried. He just told the guys, he kept pointing at the board, one play. And the one play was this play that we worked on every shoot around, but we never ran it throughout the year. And it was called Pistol Hammer. A lot of teams run it now. And for whatever reason, when he kept hitting that board, guys find, because our team, I looked around the huddle, it was like, man, we're cooked. Like, it was a lot of guys that thought it was over. And when he hit that board a couple of times, it kept saying one play, everybody locked into him and started to believe if we just stay with this, we can cut this lead. And, you know, obviously we had to have a lot of stuff work out, but it was really cool to see my friend evolve and take another step forward as a head coach and just become this monster who just led us and made us believe that we can win that game.
So you're saying a lot of things had to kind of play out. So next play out of the timeout, LeBron misses the 3, okay? Then Mike Miller gets the rebound, and then LeBron makes the 3. Yeah. So it's 94-92. So what's the game plan at this point, Coach?
We got to get a stop. You know, we know that if we foul, we need them to miss. And so, you know, as it played out, I think Kawhi went to the line next. And Kawhi went 1 for 2. So now we're down 3. And it's like, all right, we got to give ourselves multiple shots at the rim if we don't hit this first one, we got to crash that glass and everybody fan out to the three.
Pressure on a 21-year-old
three-point shot. And so,
but watch this. I mean, Chris Bosh enters the game, and Tim Duncan gets subbed out.
Oh man, I just want to point out real quick that play that they tied the game up with. Not tied, the play that LeBron hit that three. The original play was so good. I don't know if you guys noticed. They had Ray Allen as a screener. And so when LeBron came off the screen, Ray Allen flared out to the corner. Everyone's thinking Ray Allen, greatest shooter of all time. I got to stick with him. LeBron's wide open. Look at this. See? Manu and Danny Green, two pretty good defenders. They don't communicate really well. They both panic and follow the greatest shooter in the game at that point. And so then LeBron is wide open. That's a great play. Yeah. And again, Spo didn't get I don't think people give Spo his just due on some of these out of timeout plays that he draws up.
No, it was a fantastic play. And again, our whole thing was get a good shot. And if it does, don't take it for granted that it's going in, crash that glass, kick that ball back out, hunt for another three. And so, but again, so much stuff had to work out for us to be in a position to have a chance to tie it at the end.
And as I just want to go back to, you said with Kawhi missing that first free throw, leaving the door open, Perk, this was obviously a big conversation after the game with Chris Bosh entering the game and Tim Duncan getting subbed out. Did you notice when it happened? And Amin, why are you shaking your head?
Because everybody noticed. You don't have to ask Perk. Everybody noticed. And I thought one of the funny things was Pop was very defensive about it afterward, which told me he knew I probably messed that one up. I probably should have let my Hall of Fame.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. During the game, I had no idea. I was not paying attention to that at all. I was just hoping that we got a shot at the rim. And, I just did. For whatever reason, I just didn't even think about it until well after the fact. And, luckily Chris Bosh was the biggest guy on the court and can go over the top and get that rebound.
One thing that stood out to me, what you said, Coach Fizz, and that was you said that y'all worked on out of timeout plays, ATOs at practice. And I think a lot of teams don't know this, but like when you're going for a championship, you work on those things. I remember Doc Rivers, the last 30 minutes, he used to draw up ATOs every single practice, and we used to have to run at full speed with defenders guarding us. He would say, okay, put 5 seconds on the clock. Like, those things matter because you're going to come down to that moment where execution is key. And like Amin said, that play that y'all drew up, I watched Ray Allen be the ball screener, but did you watch D Wade cut to the basket? Like, his cut to the basket took a defender. Like, everyone was on point. Like, everyone was tied on the same string, and that's what made the play work. So I just thought that was a key point, because a lot of people don't understand how critical ATOs are and how much coaches emphasize and work on them in practice when you're trying to win a championship.
No doubt about it, Perk. And it's interesting because it's the time you can work on that stuff, you really can do it with a team like that. When you have veteran guys who understand what their job is and what they can do every day and what's the basic package of plays and stuff like that, you don't have to drill through that as much. But what you try to drill with those teams is, man, we're gonna have to win some close games and some tight situations. And Spo really put a big emphasis on that with that group and going option by option. If this guy's not open, then this guy's open. If this guy's not open, then this guy's gonna be open. And we just drilled that stuff over and over again, but when you have like a team full of babies, a bunch of young kids, you working on your basic package there the whole practice, and then you'll be lucky to get in a couple of late game sets because you're still just trying to get in your foundation of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Fizz said we can't move on to algebra until y'all can master 2 + 2.
Yeah, man. we was hanging out in 2 + 2 land.
Look, that is a whole word right there. Seriously. All right. Well, look, as you keep saying about, a lot of things had to play out. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but you guys were both. But let's talk about the biggest play of the series for you guys. I'm just going to lead right into it. And Coach, why don't you walk us through it?
Right. So this is Pistol Hammer. Okay. So, LeBron comes up and sets a ball pick. We flare him, and then we come back with the big and we re-screen like that with Chris Bosh. So right there, because LeBron had just made that three, both defenders jumped out on him, and it freed up Chris Bosh to have a clean run at the rim. The greatest part about it is that shot Ray Allen hit. I'm telling you guys, he used to have our guys in the gym an hour after practice working on how to get your feet behind the line and stay in bounds in the corner. He used to do these crazy drills where he'd be laying on the floor, laying on his back, laying on his stomach, posing like he's doing something. And he would tell me, as soon as you slap the ball, I'm getting up, throw it. And so he didn't have time to look down at the line to see if he was behind the line or if he was in bounds. Look at his face. He never looks down. And once it hit his hands, Juwan Howard, I just remember him in my ear going, oh, that's good. and it was like when it went in, and you guys couldn't hear this, but Ray was going off because they brought the gold ropes out and started roping off the court, and they had the trophy out and everything. And so Ray, when he hit the shot, he's yelling at the ushers, get those effing ropes out of here. This ain't over. And like he's screaming out. You see him on the film, he's screaming at the ushers and the people that brought out the ropes to get the stuff out of there because we still had a chance. And it was just it's one of those moments in NBA history that I don't think anyone will ever forget.
Fizz, for Dwayne Wade's jersey retirement celebration they had down there in February in Miami, Ray told the story of why he was so adamant, why he was cussing so hard at the ropes. Do you remember that story?
Yeah, because he said he never believed that the game is over. And he was talking about other games in his past where guys would be thinking, oh, the game is over, and had his body language like game was. And he always felt like he had a chance.
He said that when he was in Milwaukee, they were playing the Sixers in the conference finals, and they brought the ropes out. And he remembered being so angry because he felt like that was an insult to them. Like, oh, no, y'all, this is cooked. So he said when he saw them ropes, it reminded him of that game against Philadelphia. That's why he got so mad.
He was going, I remember trying to even talk to him in the hut, and he was just going off. And I can't say the words on here what he was saying. And Ray's not a vulgar guy at all, but in that moment he was dropping some F-bombs, and it was like, we got a chance.
I could believe it. Look, Ray hit that shot. To me, arguably, that was like one of the greatest shots in NBA history. That's just my opinion, because that was a huge shot. That shot led you guys to winning the championship, in my opinion. Like, that shot right there is, what sent it into overtime. Yeah. But when you talk about Ray, everything that you're saying, Coach, I witnessed and I watched this. Used to watch Ray get to the arena at 2:30, 3 o'clock, and be in the gym and be in the arena by himself, shooting those shots that you're talking about. And he shot that shot right there like he was the only person in the gym. He was so poised and under control. And, we used to have a saying for Ray in Boston. We just call him Jesus Shuttlesworth. Hey, he may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. Because listen, I'm telling you, people can say what they want, and that beef with Ray was I was already gone. I'm in good. Like, me and Ray is in a good place. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, Ray was so valuable. Ray was so poised, and I seen him time and time after again hit big shots after big shots. And it's crazy because once you, he's a champion. So he was already, with him going to Miami, he was already a champion. He was already battle tested. We leaned on Ray a lot in Boston. He came up huge for us in so many areas where we needed him, and he was knocking down threes and knocking down shots. I just remember one incident where we was playing against the Chicago Bulls without KG, and I remember he went for a 50-piece, and he was just unconscious. And he kept hitting every shot that we needed. He was nailing it to send it into overtime. And that's why, to me, Ray is underrated. Yes. I had this debate with some friends of mine. Who was I taking, Ray Allen or Reggie Miller? And I know Reggie Miller is an all-time great, but when I look at Ray Allen, I kind of got to give that edge to Jesus Shuttlesworth just because more to his game.
Great argument, though.
Well, I mean,
Perk, real quick, because most people don't remember what Ray was like before kind of the end. People think of Ray and they think about that. He was a combo guard when he came in this league.
He was dunking on people. He was doing all of that. Like he did everything then, and then he just fit into a role once he got to Boston and he understood what his role was. And you know, that's the one thing about Ray that you got to admit. No one was surprised that he hit the shot
at all.
Right?
No.
You knew just from your story, the time that he put in every day on his game and on his jump shot, it was like, if anybody's gonna hit it, it's gonna be Ray Allen, you know. Yes. And so I was just glad he was on our side, not in the green and white.
I mean, for his career, he made 10 game-tying or go-ahead threes in the final minute of the game in his postseason career. That's by far the most by any player since play-by-play began. The second one is Reggie Miller. So he was 10 of 16. Reggie Miller was 6 of 13 in those same instances.
Isn't it crazy? You know, isn't it crazy, guys, when you look at all the all-time great shooters, they know a great shooter born. These people are all made. Reggie, Steph Curry, Steve Nash, all their great shooters, they're showing up hours before the first bus even shows up and working on their shot. And so it's crazy. Like, I feel like it's something that gets glossed over all the time. All the great shooters, they're the great shooters because they put in more work than everybody else.
But as a coach, this is the thing: is players nowadays think if you sprinkle pixie dust on them, they can become a shooter. And then they want to switch workout coaches and they want to move to this coach ain't getting my jumper right. No, it's a matter. Everybody's teaching mostly the same fundamentals. Are you willing to put in the hours and the days and the nights of just constant work, coming back at 2 a.m, 3 a.m, getting up shots? If you're not willing to do that throughout the course of your lifetime, you're not going to become that kind of shooter. That's just the bottom line.
You get it in where we have a couple more minutes before this doubleheader is about to pop off. But what you want to say, Perk?
I just wanted to ask Coach Fizz, during that time, was Ray still, because when we were in Boston, Ray, James Posey, and Eddie House used to stay 2.5 hours after practice, and they would make 1,000 3-pointers apiece. Make 1,000. This is no exaggeration. Make 1,000 each apiece. Was he still doing that type of stuff?
So our psychopaths, our 3 cycles were Ray, James Jones, and Mike Miller.
Right.
And when I tell you, the ball rarely didn't go in. Just so you're talking about elite shooters.
Absolutely.
They always went over early to the games together. They went over in a car, and they always stayed after practice for hours. It was just, and it forced LeBron and Dewayne and Chris Bosh and everybody else to stay, because you were like, if they're doing it, I got to do it too.
I do. Okay, just to put a bow on the Ray Allen conversation, I do just want to give a little shout out to Chris Bosh, who was a monster in that game. I mean, the tip to Ray Allen, first of all, and then in overtime, he had those 2 big blocks, and then the key layup as well.
What else you expect, Cassidy? That's a Texas boy. Of course he knows.
Chris Bosh. Yeah, Chris Bosh was the glue. Chris Bosh he made the biggest sacrifices for that team to be good, and he was the glue to everything we need to become successful, because he could switch pick and rolls. He became a great defender. He knew his spots on the floor. He developed a 3-point shot. We ended up beating Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals in one of those series where he hit 3 big threes, and he hadn't shot threes the whole year, but he had worked on it. And he just knew that he had to expand his game to help the team become who they can become.
So obviously Game 6 is a legendary, iconic game. Make sure to tune in at 7 Eastern. But before we wrap up here, Coach, let's just quickly wrap up Game 7. LeBron had 37 in that game. What was the mindset, and how are you guys able to close that out?
Well, I thought, again, Spo, you're talking about a Hall of Famer, because getting prepared for that game, he made sure that we understood that the Spurs was a team of character, and they would not lay down in Game 7 just because of how they lost in Game 6. And so the fact that our team came in with the understanding that this is going to be another down to the wire type of game, he prepared us the right way. And I just felt like LeBron had finally reached that point in his career where he understood what to do when the moment came upon him. And man, did he play like a monster in that Game 7.
And that is why, and that's why you have that ring. Can you show the people?
Oh yeah, if y'all want to see it,
we do want to see it.
Put it right up close to you there, so you can see the beauty.
Just a little. Just a lot of
diamonds.
Something.
Two trophies on the side there. Got some stuff on the inside.
You having any parting words about any celebrations that happened after that game? Something you can remember?
The first finals we won, I didn't really celebrate, but that finals we went to Club Story down on the beach. And me and my girlfriend at the time, Natasha, and all of the guys and their wives and girlfriends, we drank a lot of champagne and had a good old time we probably went for about a month.
That is a must.
We partied hard. We had a good time, and but we knew the Spurs was gonna come back with a vengeance that next year, so we knew we couldn't party too hard.
Well, it was well deserved. And again, you guys can watch Game 6 and Game 7 of the 2013 NBA Finals right now on ESPN. We'll be back on Friday talking 2K, answering fan questions, and taking our Flashback Friday back to Perk's 08 Boston Celtics. Speaking of champs. Coach Fizz, it was such a delight to have you. Thank you so much for walking us through.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, those iconic games.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, cheers to you guys.
Cheers. Yo, I'm about to open up my bottle.
Hey, Perk. Hey, make sure y'all talk about that first series y'all played that year against the Atlanta Hawks when we had y'all pushed on the 7 games.
And listen, let me tell you, we don't know what was happening. But all we knew was that all we had to do was get y'all back to the Garden. But I ain't gonna lie.
Y'all beat us by 30 every time.
But y'all had us nervous, man. We were so nervous. nervous.
Joe.
Oh, man. He was a monster. Joe.
Needless to say, we have a lot to talk about on Friday. That's for sure. Stay home. Stay safe. Yeah.
Listen, we got to start pubbing it right now. Coach Fizz, coach for the Bulls. Let's get it.
Oh!
Perk, I like my vacation time right now.
Nah, Coach Fizz, I feel like you're the right person. That's another topic, but I'm saying it first.
I love you.
He's starting stuff at the end of the show. Perk, we got to get to this doubleheader. Thank you, Fizz. Appreciate it.
Guys.
For me, Perk, I'm Cassidy. You've been watching Hoop Stream. See you on Friday.